Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating and air, restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening. It's Tuesday, May 17th. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. It's become a contentious issue in many cities. We're talking about eviction moratoriums. And tonight, it's the city of Chula Vista that's taking on the battle with two proposals to protect tenants from no-fault evictions. KPBS reporter Kitty Alvarado is live at City Hall in Chula Vista, where a rally is happening before city leaders take their votes. Kitty.
That's right, Maya. Well, if you take a look behind me, about 50 people did show up, but that crowd did disperse because that meeting just got started. There's only a few people left now who are just giving interviews to other media outlets, but it's definitely a complicated issue. Landlords feel like they're being turned into villains, and renters say they feel like they have no stability because often landlords use loopholes to do improvements and then boot them out and then just to hike the rent. Some city officials say they want to close those loopholes and extend the eviction moratorium protection, but others say that passing these ordinances will have unintended consequences.
New sink, a nice farm stainless steel sink. All the appliances are going to be stainless steel. This kind of an old refrigerator is going for a new stainless steel refrigerator.
Mitch Thompson is putting in a lot of work into his rental unit in Chula Vista, but he's afraid of what will happen in the future for some of his other rentals when it comes time to fix them up.
It was getting really, really dated. A lot of things were going wrong with it. And so the city has told me, no, you just leave it as a dump.
That's because he says if proposals pass that the city council is considering that would protect tenants from no-fault evictions, he would not only have to give renters up to a year's notice, but pay them in advance if he wants them to move to fix up a place.
You have to pay them 2 months of relocation if you give them a notice to move.
He says it's not realistic, and if these proposals pass, it may cause him to do business elsewhere.
It's sending a message to me that this city may not be the best place to continue to be a landlord in.
But on the other side of the argument are Miriam Goff and her two children.
My kids grew up here. I love the city. But I need to move where? San Isidro, Tijuana.
She says her apartment complex has changed hands many times, and the new owners gave her notice to move because they want to remodel, and the requirements to continue to live there seem impossible to meet.
I don't want to fight anymore. I don't want, because nobody listened to us. The owner looking at us only look at numbers. We as dollar symbol. It's only that, with dollar, with money for the owner.
She's pleading with the city council to consider people in her shoes and do something about it.
How many more media we needed to explain the problem? You say, oh, it's time to make a solution. It's only that. Make a solution.
A lot of these ordinances, they sound good on paper, maybe to some, but they will have unintended consequences.
Chula Vista Council member Jill Galvez says she's sympathetic to the concerns on both sides, but she has serious reservations on these proposals. She says these proposals will not only make units almost impossible for landlords to renovate, but will also place burdens on the city to enforce.
It's going to cost the city a lot of money and staff time to regulate something that's already regulated by the state and federal government. And that cost will have to be spread amongst all rental units in the city of Chula Vista. So in effect, the cost to rent will go up.
And the group that is here supporting and that organized this rally tells me that about 30 renters from here in Chula Vista signed up to speak during public comment. And also there's a lot of landlords that are here that also want to comment. So we expect this to be a very lengthy meeting. We will stay here and monitor that meeting and bring you updates. So stay with KPBS.org. Reporting live in Chula Vista, Kitty Alvarado, back to you in the studio.
President Biden and the First Lady paid their respects today to the 10 people gunned down in that racially motivated attack in Buffalo. They also met with community leaders, first responders, and families of the victims. The president took aim at terrorists' hate and gun laws. Here's reporter Mike Valerio.
In America, evil will not win, I promise you. Hate will not prevail.
President Joe Biden mourned with the Buffalo community Tuesday, still reeling from Saturday's deadly attack. The president met with first responders and those whose loved ones were killed when a gunman opened fire in the Tops Friendly Market store, a place authorities say the self-proclaimed white supremacist suspect targeted because it served a predominantly black community.
The more information I hear, the more sad I begin to feel is that we could have done a better job. We could have averted this.
Social media posts by the suspect reveal he spent months allegedly planning the attack, even visiting the supermarket back in March to see the layout.
It seems that there were layers that missed these cues, that this individual was radicalized. He had this plan set up for 3-4 months, and this is the fallout of it.
Biden called the massacre domestic terrorism and condemned the hateful ideology that allegedly motivated the attack.
White supremacy is a poison. It's a poison, and it's been allowed to fester and grow right in front of our eyes. We need to say as clearly and forcefully as we can that the ideology of white supremacy has no place in America.
In Buffalo, Mike Valerio, KPBS News.
It was a church luncheon in Orange County to honor a visiting pastor and ended in death and injury. Today, David Chow, the 68-year-old alleged gunman who opened fire on a Taiwanese congregation in Laguna Woods, was charged with capital murder and 9 other felonies. A doctor who charged the gunman was killed and 5 people were injured. The murder charge includes a special circumstance allegation of lying in wait, which could mean the possibility of a death sentence. The FBI has also opened a hate crime investigation, which could result in federal counts. The FDA is authorizing COVID booster shots for younger children. KPBS health reporter Matt Hoffman says the move comes as cases nationwide and in San Diego are ticking up.
The FDA says Pfizer's COVID-19 booster dose is safe and effective for kids ages 5 to 11.
And I'm very happy with this.
Dr. John Bradley is medical director of infectious diseases at Rady Children's Hospital. With COVID cases increasing across the country and in San Diego, he says they are treating more sick kids.
If you aren't perfectly healthy, this virus can really make you sick. So we're seeing our numbers. The cases are going up. The hospitalizations are going up.
The FDA says while it's largely true that COVID impacts kids less than adults, the Omicron wave is sending more kids to the hospital. And there's also long-term impacts that aren't fully known yet.
We're worried about those. We don't know what those are.
Bradley says boosters for kids are important because just like in adults, the vaccine's protection wanes.
And if we're going to control Omicron spread in the community, I think getting these boosters into children will be extremely helpful.
The CDC still needs to officially recommend Pfizer's booster for those ages 5 to 11, and that's something that could happen in a matter of days. Vaccinating the youngest kids has been a challenge. In San Diego County, just 43% of kids ages 5 to 11 have gotten at least 1 dose. That's far behind other age groups.
We're not sure exactly why parents aren't getting their kids vaccinated.
Bradley says it could be a combination of misinformation or the general notion that kids aren't as impacted by COVID. The FDA says the benefits of the booster outweigh any known or potential risks. The most common side effect reported during trials was pain or swelling around the injection area and fatigue or headaches. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
Amidst a nationwide baby formula shortage, there are still places for some San Diego's most vulnerable families to find their preferred brand. KPBS Peak City Heights reporter Jacob Ayer says it comes as the FDA has reached an agreement that could reopen a crucial baby formula plant to help ease supply issues.
So we have our Gentlease, we have our NeoSure Similac,
The nation is facing an unprecedented baby formula shortage that's left grocery aisles empty and caused an increase in prices.
We're noticing a lot more customers coming in looking for formula.
But the effects are not the same everywhere, says Rosalia Zamora. She's the marketing manager at Mother's Nutritional Center, a company that specializes in products for infants and toddlers and has 4 stores in San Diego.
Every customer that has come in, that's the first thing that they ask. Do you guys have the formula? I need Gentlease, I need Nutrimogen. And for me to be able to say, yes, we do, it makes me so happy, and it makes me feel like we are helping our community.
Mother's Nutritional Center sells to individuals that are part of the Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for Women, Infants, and Children, or WIC. That's for low-income pregnant, breastfeeding, and non-breastfeeding postpartum women, and for infants and children up to age 5 who are found to be at nutritional risk. Mother's Nutritional Center also sells their goods to the general public.
Since we are on this formula shortage, we will sell one formula with cash, debit, credit, or EBT. But with WIC, we can fulfill their full order.
Whether it's moms, dads, grandparents, or other guardians, Zamora says their stores see all types of families on the WIC program. Lately, she says there's been some concern from customers, but so far, they've been able to deliver on their orders.
We had a customer who just recently came in, and we were very touched because they couldn't find Pediasure anywhere, and this child is being fed via G-tube. So for them to find it here made us feel so happy that we are serving our community and we're helping these children.
Zamora says WIC participants have their baby formula costs fully covered through the program. While she says her company has been able to fulfill all of their customer orders, she's unsure of what the future will bring for their baby formula supply. Jacob Ayer, KPBS News.
A home is not a hotel, but it's felt like that for years in many of San Diego's beach communities. Today, the City Council is taking steps to add new rules to those short-term rentals. City Council member Jennifer Campbell and others took part in a press event today in Mission Beach. Her district includes neighborhoods where critics say homes booked through sites like Airbnb have become a nuisance.
We don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater. That a system would be needed so that we could protect the traditional family vacation, but kind of eradicate the bachelor parties.
Today's action is to finalize a process that started more than a year ago but required state approval. The new rules would take effect in the fall. They include a cap on whole home rentals and an updated permitting process that gives priority to owners who abide by city laws. It's known as America's most haunted house, but a lesser-known fact about the Whaley House in Old Town is that it once served as the seat of government in San Diego. KPBS reporter John Carroll shows us how the house became a place for official government business once again today for the first time in 151 years.
There was a time when the center of San Diego was Old Town, back when what is today downtown was called Newtown. And back then, in the mid to late 1800s, this was the center of it all, the Whaley House, now known across the world as America's most haunted house. Not sure how they gauged that, but that's the claim.
But today, the ghosts are getting a break, because today, and for today only, behind this door is the official home of San Diego Superior Court, Department 68.
All rise. The Honorable Richard S. Whitney presiding.
All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
The Whaley House served as San Diego's one and only courthouse from 1868 to 1871. It was the city's second courthouse, the first one just a couple of blocks away. Bringing court back to the grand old place was a dream come true for Judge Whitney.
Right, it's an exciting day. There's been a lot of preparation by the Whaley folks, the Superior Court, and the Sheriff's Department to bring this courtroom back to life.
Being a judge in those days was a tough business. A group of them had to travel between San Diego, Los Angeles, and San Bernardino on horseback, each journey taking several days. And there were some tough cases heard in this court.
Cases that were handled here, but there was also some serious capital punishment and even some executions that were conducted right on site fairly soon following the sentencing.
Nothing nearly so dramatic on this day. Judge Whitney presided over a few civil cases before adjourning the first court proceedings held here in 151 years. So why hold court here today? No particular reason. Judge Whitney says he just wanted to draw attention to the historical significance of this place. As for the Whaley House as courthouse, that ended when a fight between Thomas Whaley and Alonzo Horton ended with a triumph for Horton in relocating San Diego's courthouse too close to where all the courthouses downtown are today. The Whaley House would head in a different direction, eventually becoming America's most haunted house and a beloved landmark in Old Town San Diego. John Carroll, KPBS News.
And if that wasn't spooky enough for you, for the first time in more than half a century, a House panel is holding a highly anticipated public hearing on UFOs. But as Kristen Fisher reports, many lawmakers, along with intelligence and military personnel, say they're less worried about aliens and more concerned about foreign adversaries.
7 years after Navy pilots spotted this unexplained object off the Atlantic coast,
It's rotating.
top Pentagon officials will be grilled by members of a House Intelligence Subcommittee, the first public hearing on UFOs or UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, in more than half a century.
For far too long, this issue wasn't even taken very seriously. It was essentially relegated to science fiction. But in a very real sense, UAPs present a very real national security risk, and the Intelligence Committee has a responsibility to investigate.
The hearing comes almost a year after the Director of National Intelligence released a highly anticipated report which examined 144 reports of UAPs, but identified only a single one, which turned out to be a deflated balloon. Quote, "The others remain unexplained." The report also documents 11 instances in which pilots reported near misses with a UAP.
This is not tinfoil hats and, conversations of Ellis being on the mothership.
Luis Elizondo is the former director of a Pentagon program that investigated UAPs, and he's been pushing for more transparency ever since he left in 2017.
This is a very serious national security issue. Something is in our skies. It has been there for quite some time, and we're just now having the conversation publicly about it.
My God.
UFOs first hit the American public's radar about 70 years ago, pushing Pentagon officials to try to explain the unexplainable.
I am here to discuss the so-called flying saucers.
In the 1960s, then Congressman Gerald Ford asked Congress to investigate, leading to the last public hearings on UFOs. Quote, "I believe the American people are entitled to a more thorough explanation than has been given to them by the Air Force." But the Air Force investigation, known as Project Blue Book, concluded that UFOs were not extraterrestrial, nor did they pose a threat to our national security. Now, another congressman, Andre Carson, is pushing for similar answers.
I believe it's important that they work to declassify some of this knowledge so the American people can effectively understand what's happening.
Could these objects that caught the attention of trained Navy pilots be part of a top-secret U.S. program? Could they be coming from a foreign adversary or somewhere else? Whatever they are, the intelligence report concedes a handful of UAPs appear to demonstrate advanced technology, some without discernible means of propulsion.
The speeds that they're exhibiting, as well as the flight characteristics, there's no platform or really energy source that I'm aware of that could allow something to stay in the air as long as these objects were.
The only thing certain is that they exist.
The big question is, whose is it, and where is it from, and what are the intentions, and what are the full capabilities, and is there something we can learn from it?
San Diego Gas and Electric is looking to raise rates for electricity and gas to meet California's climate goals and increase demand. The utility submitted a budget to state regulators asking to raise rates by around $9 a month for electricity and a similar amount for gas in 2024. SDG&E says it needs to upgrade the grid to handle expected increases in electricity consumption, incorporate green fuels, and harden transmission lines in the backcountry.
In some cases, we're strategically undergrounding additional lines, especially in the backcountry. And we're also, continuing to put up stronger poles and wires to make sure that we don't have one of our facilities, cause a fire.
SDG&E expects electricity consumption to double by the year 2045, the same year California hopes to reach carbon neutrality. The initial spending blueprint starts an 18-month process by the California Public Utilities Commission to adjust power rates in the region.
Now, we continue to see cool air over the course of the next couple of days, comfortable near the coast. And yes, that dry stretch of weather is going to continue. We're going to be following a front down the road. I'll let you know if we see any impacts from that later on this week and especially into the upcoming weekend. For now, we're going to be talking about temperatures falling back into the 50s later on tonight. Oceanside, San Diego, Chula Vista dropping down into the the upper 50s out east. Similar temperature toward Mount Laguna, Borrego Springs dropping down to 66. And yes, that onshore flow is going to be persisting as we go into Wednesday. That means over the far interior, we will see more heat. It will be a little bit warmer on Wednesday than what we saw today. But we're going to start to see those temperatures going back down a bit as we go through time. Lots of sunshine away from the coast, but again, morning, low clouds and some fog, even working its way into some of the valley locations. Oceanside 69, and notice Ramona topping off at 83, and there, Borrego Springs close to the triple digits. Front drifts its way off toward the south, but it's going to hold up shop here well to the north of the area, so we'll continue to see that onshore flow right into our area as we go through time. Again, the night and the morning coastal clouds will extend into the valleys, not as far inland by the time we get into Sunday and also into Monday. So let's go down the road and talk about the extended forecast. And notice here at the coast, we'll see the fog, then the sunshine. Not so much the case later on this weekend into early next week, and that's when temperatures can start to climb. A little bit more noticeable as you work your way away from the coast, and we'll start to see those temperatures rise by Sunday. Less of an onshore flow component. Over the mountains, we will be talking about temperatures into the upper 60s to right around 70. Breezy conditions on Friday, and over the desert, the heat peaking on Thursday. For KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Justin Pavic.
The GI Film Festival kicks off today. KPBS military reporter Steve Walsh says it's the first in-person event in 2 years for the festival, dedicated to the veteran community.
The festival originally started in Washington, D.C., but it's been in San Diego for 7 years. This year, it features 26 films by veterans and about the U.S. military. For filmmakers, it's a chance to reach a specific audience, says Jack Youngelson, director of Here Is Better, a film that focuses on PTSD.
The important thing for us is to do exactly what the festival is doing, to reach veterans, to reach members of the military directly, to kind of provide a safe space in which people can watch this film and begin a conversation, hopefully a national conversation, because I think it's so critically important.
What is PTSD?
Post-traumatic stress disorder. We get a lot of questions across the...
Youngelson's film follows a group of veterans as they try to put their lives back together after being diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, which sometimes carries a stigma.
I think that every veteran we spoke with on this journey wanted to share their story, and they felt in sharing their story, it could help somebody else. And I think that's the opposite of creating stigma. In my mind, it creates conversation. And I think it's a brave act. It's an act of trust when you work with a filmmaker or a filmmaking team where you don't know where that story will land or how it turns out. But I think that was really the motivator for everyone involved.
Vietnamese ground attack, the carnage, what I saw, what I did.
Here Is Better will show Thursday, followed by a panel discussion that will include one of the vets in the film. The GI Film Festival is showing at the Museum of Photographic Arts from now through Saturday. The films run the gamut from personal documentaries to historical war dramas. For more information, go to gifilmfestivalsd.org. Steve Walsh, KPBS News.
It's that time of year, high school seniors getting ready for prom and for graduation. And for many, the cost of these events can be pricey. But as KPBS North County reporter Tanya Thorne shows us, that is until the Oceanside Police Department got involved.
El Camino High School senior Dante Ingram got pulled out of dance class on Tuesday morning. The principal led him to 2 Oceanside police officers. Ingram thought he was in trouble, but instead, he found out his school nominated him for a special recognition.
So on behalf of the Oceanside Police Department, we're going to help you get to prom. We're going to give you $250. So hopefully you have a good time.
Thank you. 2 students from each high school were nominated for excelling in school despite facing obstacles at home.
I didn't expect this, not at all. Like, this is a blessing. I'm so grateful for this.
Ingram said he wasn't sure if he'd be going to his senior prom due to the cost.
I didn't have the money at first, but now I do. I really am happy for this.
Ingram's brother, who was also his guardian, was in on the secret. Ingram called him as soon as he got the award.
He's literally saved me from so much. Like, my father wasn't really there for me, so he was one of the people who raised me.
Selected students were awarded $250 each for prom expenses from Oceanside Police Department's Random Acts of Kindness project. School police officer Jamal Daniels says he hears a lot about the kinds of stresses students are carrying.
And I'm just, fortunate that they feel comfortable enough to tell me things like that. But yeah, it's tough, and they go through a lot. And these kids are tough, though.
Officer Daniels says he felt grateful to present the award to the chosen students.
I was definitely blessed growing up, so being able to give back to someone that might not be as fortunate as I was, it's the most awesome feeling in the world because, you get into this profession to help people, and that's essentially what we're able to do today.
And back in dance class, Ingram shared the news with his friends before practicing a piece that they may just perform at their senior prom. Tanya Thorne, KPBS News.
And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Good night.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating and air, restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley. And by the following: by viewers like you. Thank you.